Welcome back to The Real Edit.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Aimee.
And we're here with your weekly dose of content creation, building a business and trying to stay sane while doing it.
It's a safe space where we share a glimpse into our lives, part pep talk, part therapy, and just enough oversharing to keep it interesting.
Wherever this episode finds you, we're so glad you're here.
You're right on time, so let's catch up.
We're filming this intro for the third time, mainly because the second time my babe was out. Anyway, welcome back to The Real Edit podcast. Thank you so much for joining us again. You are in for such a treat today because we are joined by the gorgeous Emma, who is actually in Ibiza at the moment. She's living a gorgeous life, isn't she? Can I also say, she signed off our FaceTime at the end of this call, which was fabulous, by the way, saying ciao ciao. So fabulous. Yeah. I couldn't love her more if I tried.
We love her.
Be more Emma.
Be more Emma.
Let's start that hashtag.
Yeah.
Should probably run it past her first.
Yeah. Be more Emma, anyway. Let's get into the episode.
Okay. Emma, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. You're our second ever podcast guest.
How very exciting. Thank you so much for having me. Very
You're
excited
so welcome.
to be on.
And beautifully colour coordinated.
Well, you know, we do try, don't we?
Unplanned. It's actually very in keeping with our new branding. We've rebranded the podcast and we're going with a bit of a red flag. She did it on purpose.
She did. Loving it. Loving it.
Even Luna's here with her little burgundy pink collar.
Oh, look, the burgundy. No, it's very nice. Very nice new branding.
Honestly, so you're in Ibiza at the moment. Is the weather beautiful there? Is it lovely and sunny?
The weather is absolutely stunning, yes. So it should be like this probably right through now until the beginning of November. So it is. It's very hot. I'm sweating in my PJs here, but it's fine. It's fine. We can work with that.
PJ mummy. Sorry about even we're sweating and we're in the UK where it is not sunny.
Yeah, we appreciate the dedication.
So was that a bit of a shock to the system when you came back from Spain? Or have you had nice weather?
No, I've had awful weather. Like,
it was
skies
nice when you got
are black.
Back.
Yeah, also I went back to Norfolk, which is where my parents live, and because they dropped me at the airport, they were looking after Luna, so Norfolk is like, it's always sunny in Norfolk, no matter what it's doing where I live down here, closer to London. Norfolk is like a little bit of a, it is a bit of a sun trap, and so I had a lovely few days there, and then came home and was like, oh.
And that's like...
Yeah, it's pretty grim, but I will say, like, I'm a like a sun, what do you call it, sun baby. I love the sun. Spain was so hot. I was further up the mountain as well, so I didn't have like a sea breeze or anything like that. So it was a lot. So I kind of was weirdly grateful. Yeah, that's such a good word. I was weirdly grateful when I got back and it was a bit cooler.
A bit grayer, yeah.
Yeah,
for a few hours, and then it's like, right, take me back.
Yeah, and also I don't know if you're the same, but like when I go on holiday and I'm away for a couple of weeks, I do find myself like excited to get home, and so the fact that I was there for a bit longer this time round meant that I actually kind of came home and was like, oh, they're my grey skies. Like, I felt a bit
happy
I
to
don't
be
know.
home.
I was weirdly happy to be home, which was really nice because I feared I might just call mum and dad and be like, take Luna, I'm not coming back.
That's right, never to see me again. See, I've not had a holiday for like 9 years, so I don't know what that feeling's like.
But I saw you made a beautiful reel the other day saying like, create a life you don't need to escape from, which is just amazing if that's how you feel.
Yeah. Well, it is, and also, I mean, I basically live on holiday, don't I? So where would I actually go to get this type thing? So I certainly don't. I don't need. What I like doing though is little mini breaks, city breaks. Mm-hmm. So just going to different cities for a little bit of culture and all things like that. That's and to get out of the bubble. I enjoy doing that, but going on holiday, I don't need that. I don't need that.
You don't know. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I'm so tempted to just. I'm definitely at that point in my life where I need a change, and abroad is looking real tempting.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's not as scary as it seems either. Once you've done it, you're kind of like, oh yeah, you're still doing the same things. You've still got to do your washing. You've still got to do your housework. You've still got to do your food shopping and stuff. It's just you're still living your everyday life just in the sun or something like that. I think that's the beauty of Europe as well, isn't it? You're so connected, and I had friends who just popped over for the weekend. For example, like obviously, if I moved to certain other places, I wouldn't be able to do that. So, something to consider. But it was hard not to picture myself there. I mean, filming was 10 times easier because everything looks better in the sunshine. It was just gorgeous. So yeah, very, very beautiful. Yeah.
Wish I could be back there, but alas, I had to come home. Because someone thought it was a good idea to buy a dog 2.5 years ago, but whatever, it's fine.
I know, yeah. But
No,
hey.
she'd come with me, but it was just way too hot. I did try and bring her over with me, but it was just
Yeah, no, it is.
expensive.
Yeah.
So expensive for the month, so...
It's all the
really
vaccines and all that sort of thing as well, isn't it, that you've got to get, and
Yeah, tried to get her over on, what are they called? Not a cruise, what's it called?
Ferry.
A ferry.
Send her on a cruise.
Yeah.
Luna's
on a
all-inclusive
cruise.
round the Med. Yeah. Yeah, she was on a whale of a time. How funny.
Well, as we start every podcast episode, how was your week, Emma?
Well, my week seemed as though it was about 185 days long because Mark's flight was cancelled last weekend, which meant that he couldn't get home. And this seems to be happening a lot lately. It's like every other week his flight keeps getting cancelled because they get delayed so much.
Wow.
So it seems like it's been a long week because like I didn't have that weekend break, you know, so and of course when I'm here on my own it's just like, oh, I might as well just do some work and everything else. So it seems like it's been a very long week, but it's been a very good week. It's been a very good week. It's I went out on a school night, which is always a mistake. Went out Tuesday night. Wasn't late or anything like that.
Tuesday.
I know.
The new Friday, I heard.
Tuesday is a bad day to go out. There's a lot of week left to go, sort of thing. But yes.
Left to ruin.
Yeah. But it was only till midnight. But like I go to bed at 10 o'clock. See, I'm a get up at 6, go to bed at 10 type thing. So that was a little bit of a shock.
I go to bed at 10, but I'm not up at 6.
Yeah.
It's like
But
10
no,
till
I've had
10.
really, it's been a bit frustrating because I've been waiting for packages to come and things like that, which is what happens when you live on an island and it's summertime and of course the island doubles in size and everything else. So it's like waiting around for things and then everything comes at once. So there's been a lot of filming. But no, it's been a very good week all in all. And what about you girls?
Gorgeous. Over to you.
Me?
How's your week?
Okay, my week was... It was actually quite quiet UGC-wise for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have a social media client that I look after, which I'm really enjoying, and I kind of focus quite a lot of time on that. And also went to see my best friend who has a 8-month-old baby, and he's just the sweetest.
He is.
Little
I
thing.
don't even know him, and I'm like,
Like if you have a bad day, his face on FaceTime just lights up my world.
Yeah. And he's got just his two little bottom teeth. Oh, so he's so cute.
Yeah.
So
So I spent a couple of days with her. Yeah. I say he's my nephew, isn't it?
Yeah, but like you say.
I'm Auntie Aimee,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we had some auntie nephew time and it was really sweet.
That's
So
nice,
mine
isn't
was
it?
really special. How was yours?
Mine was good. Obviously, whilst I was out in Spain, I was still very much working and like talking to brands and organising stuff. So that when I came back, I kind of had a bit of a backlog, if you like, of things to get through. So it was very much like a regimented mission to get everything done and dusted. But I must say, I'm really like happy with the content that I managed to get in Spain, and obviously didn't edit a lot of it until I got back home. And then kind of hit the ground running. And I said to someone earlier, I work much better under pressure. So knowing I had to come back and I had X amount of time and was really helpful for me, because otherwise sometimes when I come back from a break, I find it quite hard to like rev back up into work again. And you know, it's like when you work for yourself, you're like, take another couple of days. Just warm yourself into it. But I couldn't do that. So that was really, really good. And what else? And obviously I spent some time in Norfolk as well, which... I don't know if you've ever been to Norfolk. I mean, you're relatively close. Have you ever been to Norfolk?
No, because I'm from the southwest, so that's quite a bit of a mission to sort of
it is
get
a
up
bit,
there.
yeah. Well, my parents moved there, maybe 3 years ago. I grew up down here, and then they sold and went up there. And it's just a different pace of life.
Yeah.
It's, as we said already, it's got a bit of a microclimate. It's a different pace of life. And I always leave just feeling so mentally recharged.
Yeah.
So it was just gorgeous. So I try and... You know, obviously, I've got my parents up there and my grandparents actually live with them. And I know sometimes you can think, oh, you know, I'm busy and, you know, I don't have the energy to be around everyone, whatever. But every time I try and force myself to, because I always come back feeling 10 times better.
Fills your soul.
Yeah, really lovely. Did a park run there. Dragged my dad on a couple of runs because he's starting running. Just had like a really nice, productive week and then recharged. And I'm feeling really good, which is nice.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, it's good to feel like that,
we
isn't
love
it?
that energy.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Emma, so you said, or rather you describe yourself online as a Generation X creator.
Gen X, yeah.
So not JLS. That's something different. Obviously, we've got 2 millennials over here. Mm-hmm. Why do I feel like the millennials are the cringy generation? I don't know. I
We're
just
the
feel like
ones
we are
that
the
get mocked.
Yeah, we get mocked.
We get mocked on like the millennial pause.
Yeah. In social media, you know, like at the start of the video, we're like,
yeah,
that's us, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you're a Generation X creator.
Gen X, yeah.
And you obviously are in a space, UGC, social media, content creation in general, that is predominantly taken up with very young people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Teenagers, early 20s. How do you find that? And what kind of superpower do you find being a Gen X creator brings to that space?
Well, so the delusional thing is that no matter what your age is, in your head, you're still 25. So, of course, when I see all the millennials, I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I could do that. That's just like me, that is. And then I look in the mirror and I think, oh, no, that's not like you at all, is it? But, and obviously, bearing in mind for me, I grew up before social media. So, you know, in the 90s, when we were out and everything, there was no selfieing in the clubs or anything. We were just, you know, all our sins were hidden from everybody. So, but yeah, I think that's the thing. Obviously, I don't feel myself my age. I was 54. 54. It's like when I see that on my like medical records, I'm looking at it and it's just like, you know, that trend. Well, that was rude. That was rude.
I tell you what, though, in all seriousness, you do not.
This is my mother.
You do not look 54,
No.
So whatever you're doing...
Yeah. You haven't seen me in real life, though. If you saw me in real life, you'd be like, oh my God,
You've got a filter on you on your face.
But for me, obviously, being a Gen X, being my age, does actually seem to be my superpower because I am quite good with technology and stuff like that. So I can edit in videos, and I was in social media for sort of 7 years before this, working for various different people. And I didn't realise, but it does seem as though it's quite unusual to have somebody that's my age but can do all that sort of thing as well. I know a lot of creative strategists that I sort of chat to and things that, well, I'm hoping that they forget how old I actually am, because they will say things like, well, yeah, it's all very good getting somebody a bit older, but, you know, they don't know how to load a file up to Google Drive, and they don't know how to do this and all stuff like that. And I think, right, okay, I'll try not to take offence to that, but because that's pretty easy stuff. So I think I am a bit of an anomaly, and I think that's what's really helped me, that there's not that many of my age group out there that are in this sort of realm, that are comfortable in social media, if you like. Whereas
I mean, I've got you said you just turned 54. I've got 54-year-olds in my life who they cannot work a phone. So I can understand where the kind of stereotype
that
comes from.
Yeah, for sure.
I can get it, but I think it is also it's fundamentally quite simple. Yeah. And you know, if you take it sounds like you've been doing this for a long time, and you've probably got a lot of experience. That means that I think you probably are a bit of an anomaly. So tell me what you were doing before. I know you said you were freelancing, but still in social media. Yeah.
So about 7. So I moved to France like over 20 odd years ago, about 22 years ago. So at the time I had a business in the UK. I was a beauty therapist. My friend and I had a business, so I was like a beauty therapist, nail technician and everything. So when I moved to France, I was able to obviously start doing that from home, which was great, because then I was able to make friends, blah blah blah, this, that and the other. Then when we moved down to the south of France and moved over to Ibiza, there wasn't really anything that I could do then. So that's when a friend of mine sort of said, oh, could you do my social media for me? And she was, funnily enough, she had a podcast. So I was doing that for a while, and she was also a stylist, so I was doing that for her, for a teacher, for a fitness instructor, and for a wedding planner as well. So it was like a really diverse audience of people that I was sort of creating content for. And I loved it, but it's a lot. You know yourselves, like trying to come up with ideas for your Instagram and things like that, and it's a lot. Social media is. And then just like UGC came up, I saw that advertised, and I thought, oh, well, that actually looks quite good fun, doing it for me for a change instead of for everybody else. So that's how I kind of made the transition into it. So by that time, I already knew how to edit videos, how to create hooks, blah blah blah, all this, that and the other. So I think it made the transition quite quite simple for me, I suppose. I had that background already.
Obviously, with so much experience in social media, what is your relationship with social media like personally?
So I do find it very easy to switch off from social media. I do find it easy to put my phone in a drawer and just walk away and not scroll. I don't know whether that's because Mark's only home at weekends, so obviously during that time I just want to sort of dedicate to him, us, blah, 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 all this, that and the other. It's actually our wedding anniversary today, which is very exciting.
Why are you here? I'm so sorry.
So 26 years today, so right then we're going out somewhere nice.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
So we'll be doing that.
Beautiful.
And also I grew up before social media was a thing. I was one of those people that didn't have social media, so I've not been brought up with it to sort of have that pressure on me at all either, I don't think. So I do find, and I think when you step away from your phone, when you step away from your phone and you come back and you like think, oh my God, what was the big deal about it? Because you do get so wrapped up into, I've got to interact, and I've got to do this, and I've got to post my stories, and I've got to do blah, 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 blah. And then when you walk away, you like think, yeah, actually, it's not that big a deal after all, is it? It's not a huge part of your life. But yeah, I find it very inspiring. I find it entertaining. I find it educational. But I also can just as easily switch it off and sort of not let it bother me or think about it too much either, I think.
And is that practiced? Was that something that you maybe saw other people not doing so well at, or was it something that you used to struggle with, or have you always just been very boundary?
I think it's just because of my lifestyle, really. I think there's nothing more to it than that. You have to make choices in life, don't you? And I can either spend my time glued to a phone, or I can spend it glued to my loved ones, and I'd rather be doing that.
I love that.
I was about to say, I absolutely love that.
That's really, it's just difficult, isn't it? I think, for me, like, scrolling, especially at night time, is so habitual for me, and I'm really trying to make the switch to Kindle at night time, just trying to build that new habit, because the whole time I'm scrolling I'm thinking I really want to read my book, but I get kind of locked in, so I struggle with that. But I also really find social media, all the things that you said, inspiring, educational, motivational, but there are definitely times when I find it just like, what would you say? Just the comparison I find really challenging.
I would say it probably is you'd have to bleep out, I think, because it's a head f***, isn't it? At the end of the day, it really is.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
But
it's really difficult. I mean, how what's the line between inspiring and braggy? And one day I'll see the same bit of content and think it's inspiring, and the next day I'll see it in a different headspace and I'll think. And it'll do the exact opposite. It will make me feel flat as a pancake. Yeah, it will, and that's all. That's me, and that's a me problem.
But also, I think
it is, like you say, it's such a difficult place.
So obviously, for me, it's like you were saying earlier. There's not that many people of my age on there, so of course I don't have that comparison thing. So I see all of you girls at your sort of age and everything, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. But it's not something that I could ever aspire to be like or to have necessarily, because I'm at a completely different stage in my life. So I don't think it affects me as much. I don't think I take it to heart quite so much. I suppose just because I am that much older, I'm more confident and comfortable in what I've got, what I've achieved and everything else. Whereas I think for your generation, especially, because my daughter's the same age as you girls, so she's 27, she'll be 28 in December, so I know the pressure on her to have it all, to do it all, to be it all and everything, and it's tough. It's really, really tough, and I would hate to be in that situation, but I just feel like I'm sort of floating above it all a little bit more, and so I can take it or leave it.
That's really interesting. What would you, or rather, let's, if you were in my position and you were doing exactly the same job, exactly what you do now, but at my age, 29, about to turn 30, what would a bit of advice be, or how would you go about it differently, or like, how do you think it would feel? Would you even want to be in this space at this point in your life? I don't know.
That was the first thing that jumped into my mind there. It's like, if I was your age doing this, I wouldn't want to be doing this, because I just think you're putting yourself out there so much, opening yourself to so much scrutiny. Oh, that was my headphone just dropped out. I mean, I've got a pretty thick skin now after all of these years, so obviously people can say things and do things and it doesn't affect me at all, because I know I'm comfortable in my own skin, I'm confident in my own skin, so I don't need any outside validation. But I think for your age group, and I hope that doesn't come across as condescending or anything like that, but yeah, I don't know that I could do it. I have to be honest.
Well, yeah,
because that was the first thing that popped into my mind when you asked that question. I was like thinking, oh God, no, I wouldn't want to be doing this if I was your age. But then what else would you be doing?
Because truthfully, I even in the last 5 years, hell, 3 years of my life, I'm a different person. So I think your 20s in particular are transformational for a number of reasons. But I do think you go on that real journey where you say, you know, I'm so much more self-confident now. And I do think the closer you get to that 30 mark, the more you kind of grow in your self-acceptance. And so even just in the past 3 years, I know how much more confident I am now and how much of a better place I'm in to do this job and to do it well. Yeah. So when I see creators doing it at 18, 19, you know, or, you know, early 20s, like hats off to them, because I did not have the tools and I was not in the right place to do it at all, but also to in any way thrive. Yeah. You know, like it would only have hurt me. So I do find it really interesting.
I mean, I think I'm very, very fortunate that just my whole upbringing and everything has been geared to making me feel safe, secure, confident, everything else. And I think that's just carried with me through life. Not saying that, you know, everything was a bed of roses or anything like that, but obviously I've always had a little safety blanket around me, if you like, which was carried through all of my life. And I think that's made everything an awful lot easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, at your age, it's tough putting yourself out there, I would say. And the competition is so much more fierce as well.
Yeah, that's a really weird dynamic for me. I and you know I struggle with this, you know, because I'm very much like I want everyone to win. At the same time, there's an undeniable fact that is we're competitor businesses, which I think you forget when you're just an Instagram page or whatever. And there's this I really struggle with it, you know. I do, and it's something I'm still kind of working out my relationship with social media and who I want to be as well. I don't know. I find it quite tricky. I find that quite
because
tricky.
Because I think for me, whilst I would probably compare my work to others, like, oh God, I wish I'd sort of done a shot for the last video I did like that, or oh, I wish I'd included something like that in it. It's only on a work basis. It's not on a physical basis, if you like, because obviously, like I said, I can't be like you, but if say there was hundreds and hundreds of GenX creators out there, I'd probably be looking at them all thinking like, oh God, well I look so much older than she does, or oh my goodness, she's in such better shape than I am, and la la la, because I've got somebody my age that I can actually compare myself against, whereas I can't do that so much in that space. So it's purely just a work thing that I can make the comparison with, and that's just work, isn't it? It's when it gets more personal that is the struggle.
Yeah. I wonder if one day we'd love to have a male guest on. We've got a few ideas of like really awesome male UGC creators that we'd love to chat to. And I wonder if I think women are hardwired to compete because of society, and that's just how I think
that's how we're pitched against each other.
Yeah, exactly. There's only a handful of seats at the table, right? So of course we're all competing for them. I wonder how this conversation would sound from a male perspective. I wonder if they deal with that comparison far less, if they're much more confident in their own ability.
Like you say, it would be really interesting, because I think social media as a whole is female dominated, and it's probably one of the only careers where that is actually the case. But again, I bet what women come up against in other careers, the struggles that they come up against then, is not going to be the struggles that male creators in a female-dominated industry are going to come up against by any chance.
No.
So like you say, it would be super interesting to speak to and get the male perspective on all of this as well, I reckon.
Yeah, it's definitely on our list. We have so many we have so many ideas with so many people we'd love to chat to.
But also, I think that also says it all, that actually we are so different. Because if we weren't all so different, you wouldn't want to speak to all of these different people. So again, when we're saying about like the comparison thing, actually, why are we comparing ourselves to each other? Because we've just admitted that everybody is so different, which is why we're so intrigued to find out their point of view and everything else. But you forget that, don't you? And you do just like think,
yeah, so why on earth would I pitch myself against you?
I know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
So obviously you're very lucky to be based abroad in such a gorgeous country.
I am.
So like tell us a little bit more about it in terms of like how has it affected your career? Like what is it like for you? Do you see opportunities there? Oh, obviously I know you said like with parcels and stuff it's a bit of a pain in the peak times. But as like a whole, has it impacted it? Has it made it better? Is it harder?
Well, so obviously I started UGC whilst I was abroad, so I don't know what it would be like if I lived in the UK, so I've only got this experience to go on. Obviously Brexit is a real pain in the bum, because before everything could just ship internationally between Europe and there was no issue with what was being sent, there was no customs charges or anything like that. So France is completely different to Ibiza as well. So what I can receive in Ibiza, I can't receive anything that can be ingested. So obviously then we're talking about any supplements and things like that, or anything that can be like applied to the skin. I'd have to be an importer. I'd have to be a business effectively and have an importer's license. So that's an issue, but we work around. If the customs people phone me up, then we can talk it through and I can explain, look, you know, these products, I'm a creator, I'm making a video for the brand for this, it's not something that I'm having for personal use and blah blah blah, this, that and the other. So we can normally get around it that way, but otherwise that is an issue. And I think Ibiza is slightly different to mainland Spain as well, so blah blah. And also everything takes longer to get here, so there can be weeks where I should be doing, you know, 6 different projects or something like that, and then one of the products turn up. So it's you as much as you can't plan anything in our business, it's definitely throws a few more curveballs in there as well. But I've been very lucky, you know, obviously you can get to work with apps and things like that where you don't need to have a physical product. I do get quite a lot of visitors, funnily enough, so they can always shove things in their suitcases for me as well and bring it out. So we work around it.
Not your typical kind of smuggling job, really, is it? Would you mind bringing some SPF across the, some vitamins across the? Yeah, it's a bit odd, really, isn't it?
And some of the agencies I work with are Europe-based as well, so of course then there's not an issue because they've got the products given to them and then they ship them out to me, so that works a lot.
I mean, I got a taste for it when I was in Spain. I had a couple of brands ship products out there. They saw that I was there and was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
And I had 2 very similar products sent from, in terms of like, you know, product group, sent from 2 different brands, both UK-based. One made it to me like that. One got stopped at customs and I never saw it, and so I'm having to now do it back here. But I got a little bit of a taste of it, and I thought about you at the time and thought, I wonder what that actually looks like on a weekly basis, because you've had a recent situation where you were struggling to get hold of a delivery for a collaboration, and the way in which it throws your week up in the air from a planning perspective, I can't begin to imagine now having to go between 2 plates. That must be madness for you.
So I would say 2 weeks ago, a brand said, we're shipping something to you urgently, you know, we're going to UPS it, blah blah blah, this, that and the other. So it was UPS, then it got held up at customs, and then UPS then don't have anything on Ibiza, so of course they then contract it out to just some little guy in his van and gets thrown around in his van for a few days before he thinks,
should probably drop that off
to deliver. Oh god. So then, like, you know, 2 weeks later, it's literally arrived this morning. I'm like, hey, I've got it.
That express shipping.
But we make it work. France is a lot easier. France is a lot quicker. The products that are allowed through customs are a lot easier as well. So yeah.
And
hey ho. First world
what's your
problems.
experience when you say to brands, like, if they come to you or you go to them and you tell them you're not in the UK? Because I'm assuming that a lot of the brands you work with will be UK brands. I'm sure you'll have a mixture.
Yes, no. I would say 90% of them are UK-based brands. So some of them don't have an issue shipping worldwide. If they ship worldwide anyway, then obviously there's no problem whatsoever. I'm trying to think sort of on an average how many... maybe it's 1 in 10 brands that I can't work with because of the shipping issue, something like that. So it's not too bad, I wouldn't say. And I'm lucky because a lot of the brands that I do work with, I work up with on repeat business as well. So of course that makes things so much easier because I've either got the product anyway, or we know that they can get me the product and things like that. So I'm very, very fortunate to have that.
So you don't feel like it helps or hinders? Like, because on one hand, I guess you've got brands that have access to sunny, beautiful content months of the year from you, but also they've got the added complexity of maybe they're having to ship it a little bit further. They would. What is it? Is it a hindrance or?
But like I said, because I've not worked in the UK, I wouldn't know whether, oh my goodness, I would have like double the amount of work or something like that if I was back in the UK. But no, I mean I've got more than enough work, so I'm happy with how it's going.
I love that. Yeah, and do you really enjoy your job? Do you enjoy? Do you like? How do you feel about UGC?
I do. Yeah, I love the creative side of it. And I love script writing. I really love sort of like trying to, looking through the brands, reviews and all things like that, and really like thinking, okay, right, this is your ideal customer. This is who really gets you and things like that, and then be able to write into scripts around that, and almost like taking on that persona of somebody else. That side of things as well, I think is really good fun because we're actresses at the end of the day, aren't we? A lot of the time, there's not many that want it purely from our own personal viewpoint. So that side of it is actually really, really fun. And I love doing like the skits and the comedy side, all those sorts of UGC collabs. I find them really, really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm the same. Like I grew up, I wanted to be an actress. I was a little theatre kid. And
really?
I guess in a weird way, here I am. I mean, I get a few comments from people when I tell them what I do. They say, well, isn't that false advertising? And well, it's no different to the lady on the TV pretending to, be at the dentist for a toothpaste advert or whatever. Because you're right, like you say, we kind of are weird, isn't it? You're a paid actress and very much like the creative, but then you're also the strategist, and it's a really strange.
We do the lot. Film crew,
madness.
Set manager, all that sort of thing, is it?
100%.
With what we do, we put so much of our lives online, and we want to know what is something that people wouldn't know about you from your social media profiles.
Oh, that's true, because like you say, we do put everything online, don't we? So I'd have to go back probably many years to think about something that you don't know about me already, because like all the usual things, isn't, speaking different languages, family, my daughter Eleanor, you know all that about me. The only thing I could probably think of is I worked in an orphanage in Romania when I was younger than you girls, that long ago. So could any of you remember? Well, any of you remember? Have you ever heard of Challenge Annika?
No.
Looking at me blankly there. So Challenge Annika used to be this show that was on, Annika Wright she was called. She used to run around in this jumpsuit, and she had to sort of like do these projects and everything else. Anyway, one of these projects was that she went to Romania to sort of rebuild an orphanage, and because they're dire, they were dire at the time. I haven't been out there for many years, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, I want to do that. I want to go and help. What can I do to help and everything. So you sort of like phoned up the hotline and everything, and you were like, yeah, what can I do? But at the time, they were only looking for sort of qualified nurses, plumbers, electricians, all that type of thing to help out. So. And I was really ill with tonsillitis at the time, and I was like saying to my mum, yeah, I really want to go out there. And she was like, yeah.
Okay.
let the fever subside, and then
let's stop taking those painkillers, shall we?
So anyway, so I was like, no, I definitely want to do it. And then I found out there was an aid truck that was going out from like a nearby town. So like went out with this aid truck, and I was only meant to stay there for a month, so I got a month off work, and yeah, it was one of those things that just like life-changing. You get there. I mean, there was no electricity. My loo was a hole in the ground in the sheep shed. I had to get my water out of a well over there.
I'm looking at my face in the camera.
It was rough. It was, but at the same time, it was just the most incredible experience of my life. So I sort of came back after that, and I had a letter of resignation. I had a letter from the manager of the orphanage, and I said to my boss, like, take which one you want, but I'm going back.
Really?
And I was really fortunate that my boss at the time was sort of very sympathetic towards that, 'cause he had a disabled son. And he said, yeah, take as much time off, your job will be here when you get back. So I spent 18 months out there.
Oh my goodness.
So I was in the orphanage, and I was working, the orphanage was for irrecuperable children type thing, that were meant to be like really mentally, physically ill type thing. Some of them had a hair lip, some of them had a boss eye, that type of thing. But an awful lot of the parents were saying that actually they'd be better off in there because they were getting at least 3 meals a day, whereas we can't afford to give that to them at home. So it was quite rough. But then when they were 18, they then got sort of shunted off to an old people's home, and were just there then until they weren't anymore type thing. So that's probably something.
That is
I must admit,
incredible. I wasn't expecting that, I have to say.
On a previous episode, I told the world that I have a webbed toe, and I have never felt like I've told a more underwhelming story in my life after that. No,
I feel like we can't compete with that now.
What's yours then, Aimee? Go on then.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that.
Don't forget, I'm so much older than you.
Yeah, but you said you were younger. You said you were younger than us. How old were you?
Yeah, I was. I was 19 then.
I mean, I have also gone to the toilet in a hole in the ground in Southeast Asia, but it's not quite the same.
Nothing to brag about.
No, it's not. But
okay.
Well, and the thing is, so the toilet that we had in the sheep shed, I don't know whether you ever had a sheep cough, but it sounds exactly like a human. So we used to think that the farmer was hiding amongst the sheep, watching us go for a wee.
That actually reminds me of a really funny story in my life.
But it was just the sheep.
I actually have a different... No, I've got a story about that. Once I complained to a hotel manager.
The farmer watching you go for a wee.
No, I complained to or rather my dad. Yeah, one time this farmer. No, my dad complained to a hotel manager because I told my dad that there was a weird man who was a worker, like a member of staff at the hotel, this is in Egypt, staring at me from outside the toilets. And this guy, when I'm telling you, was like this, watching me on my sunbed. And I was like, that's really weird. And he kept going, and I was like, Dad, I feel really uncomfortable. He's definitely watching me. So Dad went up and was like, don't get me wrong, my dad's like this tall and like the nicest person ever. So he wasn't exactly like, but he kind of went up and was like, look. This guy jumps out and he's on his phone when he's supposed to be working. So all he's been doing, bless him, is on his phone, like checking that his manager's not looking. So not only have I been an absolute tit and made myself look really self-absorbed, but I've also just dobbed him in because he was on the phone. How bad is that? Anyway, sorry, just a bit of a random segue.
That was a tangent, that was.
But
it was tenuously linked. So
lots of
it worked.
Mistakes were made, it's okay.
Mistakes were made. What's your, in fact, that no one would know? We did.
My random fact was that I'm a trained healthcare assistant, but that doesn't really
Sure,
sound as impressive now. What's yours? No, this it's about to get worse.
I collect Lucky Charms. And when I say collect, I have 3. I'd like to show them to you actually. 1 second, please.
So I was going to say, Lucky Charms, what do we mean by Lucky Charms?
Well, let me tell you. Okay.
Are they just like little things that you're drawn to when you're out and about, or?
Well.
Oh, I have one of those.
You know that TikTok video at the moment that's like, my friend's about to show you her Lucky Charms and you better be really nice.
Better be nice, yeah.
Okay, let me walk you through it. So this is a little scarab beetle that I was gifted in Egypt from an Egyptian man that I made friends with there. And this is supposed to ward off evil spirits. Can confirm.
Okay.
Some evil spirits have got past this little guy, so I'm not sure. This is hanging on in there. So I remain optimistic. This I bought myself in Turkey because obviously those countries and cultures are all very big on the evil eye. And it was at a time in my life when I was going through a very difficult, stressful period, and I needed this little guy. I was like, come on, evil eye.
Holding it at night time, like, please.
And then this is a little, I forget the stone name if I'm honest. Oh, sorry.
What is it? It's so tiny.
I feel like I should do one of those YouTube like this.
Yeah.
It's a tiny gemstone, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's meant to be, it's going to give you strength during periods of change.
I can feel the luck coming off
and
of it.
I'm not going to lie to you, sometimes I go and pick it up from the kitchen and I squeeze it and I go, come on. I actually do that. And I'll be honest with you, it's actually been very helpful. something dite, I think. Anyway, so those are my...
Wow.
Your little lucky charms. Well, I don't know what to say after that.
Yes, compared to the 18 months
impressed.
working in a Romanian orphanage,
Well,
I feel
not really.
somewhat undermined, but hey ho.
Hey ho.
Very nice.
Gorgeous.
Thank you for sharing, Aimee.
You're... I do very important work over here. Okay. One last question from me.
Yes. I'm all ears.
I would love to know, we love an inspirational quote on this podcast.
Oh, heck.
What is one piece of advice or a quote that you've been told in your lifetime, not necessarily work related, that you live by or that really resonated with you, that you just love? A piece of advice or a quote? I'd love to know.
Okay, so my dad once said to me that you don't have to have all the answers, but you do have to show up. And I think that's stuck with me because it's just a bit of a reminder when you're overthinking, when you're like, oh, should I post this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And you just think, right, it may not be perfect, but let's just do something. Let's just take some sort of action. And I think probably throughout life, because I have had sort of, obviously with moving countries and all things like that. I mean, the reason we moved to Ibiza was because Mark was made redundant. So we're like, hey, why not move to Ibiza? That's what you do when you lose your
makes
job.
sense.
Seems like the
And
best
everybody
thing to
was
do in
like,
that
"Oh my
situation.
God." So I do think that we're quite, not impulsive, we obviously think things through, but I think in general it's just show up, just do something. Don't just sit there talking about it. And also my dad always said, never, ever, 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 ever rely on a man. And that has really stuck. Yeah. And seeing a lot of my friends, what they're going through now. Yeah. Ladies, I'm telling you now.
She's all right. She's got a good one.
I know, but no, you still,
Just what you said there about just showing up. I love that because I've been listening to another podcast actually from a licensed therapist, and he always says the same thing, which is that you don't have to have all the answers, you don't have to have the whole thing worked out, but you just need to work out what's the next right step.
Yeah.
And I find that so reassuring. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think you need to have a 10-point action plan to get to destination, whatever it is. In actual fact, right here, right now, all you got to do is work out what's the right thing to do right now in this moment. What's your next step forward? And I really like that. I find it really comforting.
Yeah.
That makes everything so much less overwhelming.
Yeah, it's like when people say, break it down to bite-sized chunks. I guess a footstep is a bite-sized chunk, right? And so, I find that really, really helpful. I love that.
No, and I'm certainly just like, okay, what can I control right now, this minute? It's whereas sort of Mark's very much like plan A, plan B, plan C, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, why are you wasting all this headspace and energy thinking about all these things that could go wrong? Let's just think about, let's just see if it happens for a start. But then just let's take each little step as it comes. So I'm very much just like not just living in the moment, but certainly just dealing with whatever's on my doorstep at that particular time. I think rather than stressing too much about what could, would, should, and everything else. But chill.
Yeah, I love that. At the end of the day, none of it really matters, does it? And then, what do they say? Something like 80% of the things you worry about don't even happen.
I think it's even, I think it's something like 99%, isn't it? And
Probably.
then the 1% that does.
If you're me, then 100%.
Never as bad as you think it's going to be anyway. So no, I think that's
I love
a
to
good rule
catastrophize
live by.
the simplest of things. I like to catastrophize everything. So no, it would definitely be 99% for me, I reckon. 100%. This has been such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad we got to make this happen.
Such a treat. And I think it's nice as well because we do work on our own, don't we? So we don't sort of have like the office catch-ups and gossips and everything else. So it's nice to speak to sort of people that understand what's going through our little heads and what we
pretty
go
little
through on a
heads.
day-to-day. Don't know about that, but No,
100%.
Great, girls. Thanks for having me on.
You're so welcome. I think that's exactly what we wanted to create. We wanted to create somewhere that felt a little bit like a break room. On a work day where you just want to need to see your friends and have a coffee and have a natter and then go back to
we
your
all
desk.
sit in our jammies, because that's
exactly.
That's what you do, right?
This is our office.
It's been so long since I worked in an office.
I was going to say, what would we know?
What do we know?
No, thanks very much.
Oh,
It's been
amazing.
lovely chatting to you both.
You're so welcome.
Now that Aimee has finally stopped talking, I think we'll end the episode there. I'm feeling so inspired after speaking to her, I have to say. I'm going to go and sign up to volunteer in an orphanage now.
bless you.
Yeah,
Bring me back a Lucky Charm.
I'll bring you back a Lucky Charm, and I'm just feeling so inspired by just the way you live and do everything.
Oh,
You are incredible.
Oh, that's a lovely thing to say.
So yeah, I think it's been a gorgeous episode.
Another gorgeous episode.
Another
That's what we do.
Every episode is
This is
gorgeous.
what you do.
What can we
We
say?
just nail it every time. God.
Everyone out there's
You the
thinking,
best. Woo!
yeah. So thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you tuning in again. And
Are we going to love you bye?
yeah.
Let's do it.
Love you. Bye.